This is Dilani Diva, and welcome to another day in paradise, this beautiful earth that we are so blessed to live in. Just as Christ saw paradise in the heavens, surely we can see paradise on this earth, for we are earthly brown creatures with such a heavenly purpose. We are heading out of a really emotional time. The last month has been affected by the Mercury Retrograde, and to most of us who do work with astrology, you know that this is a very confusing time. We are visited really by one or two of these periods where people of our past come into our present, or we feel experiences of our past visiting us in our mindset. And so it sometimes creates a lot of confusion within our spirit. Most times these events and these thoughts and these emotions are residual from our past that we haven't really worked through or worked with. And so it comes back because it's like flushing out your system, your emotional system. Now let's talk a little bit about that, where we can infuse better energy, better feelings, better emotions into this, which we call our emotional residue. It's not a healthy thing to ignore our past or memories. Yes, we are not our memories, but we are made of certain experiences of our past. And so even though we live and experience a new us, because our cells and our spirit is generated every day, each morning, each moment, still there is an imprint that we carry with our memory. And this is something we must really take notice of and really work through in a very dynamic, positive, and self-focused way. In order for us to bring healing to others, it is necessary that we feel healed and loved within ourselves. Most times we really don't hurt ourselves, like for example, if I see a fire, I'm not going to put my hand to it. But the hardest thing that surrounds us, which are relationships, can really affect us, because no two people are at the same place at the same time. No two people processes things in the same way. And so we find an uncommonality in this sense of, our oneness. And that also can cause a lot of grief and a lot of pain. So let's talk a little bit about why this pain body arises within us, within our emotional body. Why does this pain body arise within our emotional body? Well, our past, though not really present at this time, does have some karmic effect in our sense of being. Now, what does that mean? It means that we carry certain thought processes, certain ways of looking at things that are built by our atmosphere, our influence of our family, our friends, and then our own personal experiences. Most times we are more strongly drawn, it seems, to our pain than to our pleasure, because a pleasure adds a sense of and the pain adds a sense of, oh my gosh, I gotta walk through this mountain. I need to get through this pain, It's more of a trial, a tribulation. And somehow we are dragged into these moments of tribulation. Most times it is because of our relationships and not necessarily because I didn't win a marathon, So it's important to look at these relationships, to look at how we feel about it now and how we can process beyond that. All things that are in the physical world and even in the spiritual world goes through seasons, and these seasons have a certain power, a certain energy that helps us if we look at it in the right way. So the season of the retrograde is almost like the universe having a storm. Boom! And we're all jolted in this space, and nothing is in its sacred zone. It reminds me a little bit of a piñata, you hit it and it breaks, and then all the pieces go all over the place. So the past, the present, this moment, feelings, thoughts, and everything gets a little jostled up. And there's a reason for it, you see. Like, for example, if there's a thunderstorm, oh my gosh, the sky just rips apart, and there's hailing and there's storming. But then, once it settles, you can see the earth in its beauty, in its glow, bathed by the dew of the morning. It's just amazing. And so, this is a way we can renew our spirit, renew our heart, and be re-energized. So even though the retrograde is a tiring time, because you remember people that were just poopy towards you, you end with a sense of, okay. Or if you don't handle it in the right way, you can end up in a cycle that's less powerful and more painful than you were before you ended it. So let's look at one instance. So we can, hypothetically of course, okay, how we can infuse this time of pain into a time of deep power, and how we can actually feel love towards a situation that was once full of pain and despair. So I always say, I am blessed that I can feel love. What a wonderful space that is, isn't it? And we say, well, does he love me, or does she love me? And actually, in fact, we should say it in a little different way. We should say, well, do I evoke certain feelings in other people? Like, I love to paint, I love to sing, and the greatest joy I have is when I evoke certain feelings of passion, or certain feelings of joy, or a wowness in someone else. Because it's really not about me then, it's about them. So what I did evoked a sense of joy, a sense of peace, a sense of wow in someone else. So if I say, hey, I love you, what does it mean? It means you evoke that sense of love within me, and I own that love. I own that feeling, which flows and flows and flows. And so it's very powerful. Okay. In the same way, the feeling of love has so many components that are close to each other, various feelings. And so in itself, it's the most powerful thing, love. Okay. So those we love bring out the best in us and also the worst in us. It's a difficult thing when you're in a relationship, because we have certain expectations, and sometimes we are not granted those things, for whatever reason. And then it leaves us very sad and very deserted. So it's good to have expectations in a relationship. It makes you feel good and makes you feel powerful. But also at the same time, if you are only based upon expectations and not looking at the other aspects of your love, it can be very tiring. So a broken heart comes up during this time. Maybe a person wasn't there for you, or treated you badly, or just left you without any kind of explanation. And maybe they're calling you now during the retrograde and saying, hey, hi, how are you doing, or how have you been? And it's very significant. A lot of our past relationships come in during this time. And so we ask them, what the heck? Why are they bothering right now? Well, they have some unfinished karma there. They have some unfinished feelings, like, oh, maybe I could have handled it a little differently. Maybe I could have been kinder is there anything there in this person? Are they still thinking about me? I mean, these are things that people have, and so they reach out and say, hey, are you still available to talk to me? Can we work through this? And of course, most of the time, the person that reaches out, most of the time, not all the time, is a person who had the strength to walk away. And so the person left behind who is not as empowered feels, oh my God, he's coming back. Do I need to work through this? Or they might say, oh my gosh, he's coming back. Maybe there's something there. And so, or even a thought, you're having thoughts about your ex. And so this becomes such a powerful entity, and we grapple with it. So if you can look at, again, the idea of love and the feeling that you own, then things actually make sense. Because no matter what this person has done to you, they have evoked within you a feeling. And that is what's important. Because when you have that feeling, then God's presence is there with you. You are kind, you feel wonderful, you feel a sense of bliss, you feel a sense of magic. And that magic is the most powerful experience that we can have, or one of the most powerful experiences. So you own that. So say, for example, your ex came into your life and spoke to you during the retrograde, and you're like, oh my gosh, really? After you slammed the phone on my face and ignored me for 2 weeks and didn't talk to me, now you're coming back. And for some reason, first, the initial response of the human self is, the human being, the human spirit, is to say, well, I'll teach you a lesson. But really, spiritual lessons are very deep, isn't it? We can't really teach someone through resentment. Then it only propagates more resentment and causes that energy to become more powerful. So let's stop ourselves right there. When you say, do I want to be that, echo the same sentiment? In other words, do I want to echo the same sentiments? And then you say, well, that's not going to bring me joy, because see, when there is war, there can never be peace. So in a war zone, we cannot truly find love, because love cannot survive in a place like that. Love is kindness, love is compassion, love is understanding, love is reaching out and say, hey, how are you doing today? I hope you feel good today. That is what true love is. So when you understand the feeling and the way you have to be in order to be loving, first to yourself, because you feel it. When you're angry and you want to cause some hurt to somebody, you feel it first, right? You feel that anger. And then when you give it, you feel it. Now let's see how it makes you feel. But when you feel love, you say, oh, that is so beautiful. I'm glad that you connected with me today. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. You can stand up for yourself and say, look, I didn't like the way you treated me. That was not good. Don't do that again, because I'm not going to talk to you again if that happens, because I'm done with being, treated badly. Now that's standing up for yourself, but sharing that with kindness is important. Then, second of all, even if the person didn't come in and you had a memory, let's see how we can infuse that memory with love instead of feeling the pain of resentment and hurt and abandonment that's connected with that. Well, remember when you first felt attraction for this person, then you didn't have baggage, isn't it? It was maybe the first time you saw them. So close your eyes and visualize the times that you felt happy, in that moment with this person. There must be some kind of attraction that you felt, otherwise you won't even think about that person. So think of the time that you felt really good. Then take away the visual memory, like make your mind a blank. and go into the body feeling. How did you feel then? Did you feel good? Did you feel happy? Yeah. That was good. Like, I remember my first kiss. Like, oh, wow, that was good, And so, even though we are not together now, I still think of that first kiss and I'm like, wow. So, it's like that, you see? Go to that moment where you feel great and bring that wowness, that sense of peace, a sense of well-being into your body. Then say a prayer, a supplication to the universal spirit of love, to God that lives in all of us. Say, Father, I pray and I infuse this feeling into all the other moments that I have had with this person. Grant me this feeling in everything, so even though I might see something or feel something or know something about its future and the unhappiness that I had with the future, I can stand apart from that and yet feel those feelings. Now, I may not share those feelings with that person because those feelings are really for me. So I will release that into the universe and breathe and feel great. And maybe you can literally ask the Spirit of God. Say, Father, come into my presence. I breathe a sense of well-being. I see light through my heart going to this person. And I ask you, God, to forgive me for hurting my heart with anger. Bring this love into my soul so I can send it back to them. And in spirit and truth, I will release this anger. And whatever the images or thoughts you might have about that incident, immediately feel and see and breathe a sense of peace. And first thing when you're breathing a sense of peace is that you release thoughts. Do not think. Only focus on your breathing. Do not think, because if you think, you're going to think, I'm going to kick his butt to the curb. You're going to be like, I'm so bad. So no. Take the thoughts away. Woo. Blinders and blinkers. Take the thoughts away. Okay, that's good. Perfect. So then, another thing you can do is, celebrate the victory of your power to love. Because, think about it. If you have loved, or if you have felt, or if you have had happy moments after that, of course you must have, surely, that means that they have that space hasn't surely affected you, or the power that you have as a person to be powerful. You still have that. Okay? And it is to know that each time you come out of a situation, we might see it as a battle, a victory of a battle. But really, it's not a battle. It is a sense of knowing, a sense that you have become kinder through a storm. And that is your power. That is the fuel for the engine of your wonderfulness. I started to use that word. You're wunderbar. You are the bomb. When you see that and you recognize it and you feel it and you become it, then you have really become a star. Then you can handle that relationship, even if it has shifted into a friendship, back into your life. You can be as beautiful or even more powerful than what you were when it came into your life. And like the storms that caress the earth and then releases the beauty into the universe. Like I love going to the beach and watching the waves just crashing on the water. Oh, I got little horns. Hold on, guys. I don't like my horns. Okay, there. No horns now. Right? I love them crashing on the water because when they recede, the earth, the rocks, they're so beautiful, so clean. And so it is releasing this energy, refocusing your mind, and becoming the more beautiful you. And I leave you with these tools and these thoughts, and I hope that you can have the time or make the time to invest, to think, to let go, and become more beautiful each moment and each day. And in that simple beauty that you feel, and you become more loving and more compassionate towards yourself, then your light will shine to others. And being in your presence, it's like a painting. You go, wow, that's just awesome. You will just help to heal another's heart, another's grief, another's pain. And you will become the instrument of great love. And I leave you with such thoughts. And I leave you with a song in your heart, hopefully. And if you do have pain today, my prayers and my thoughts go with you. And I pray and ask all the wonderful angels and God's gentle mercy to touch you, to heal you, and to infuse that pain with your deepest, gentlest, most compassionate love you have ever felt. May God grant you peace and joy and great abundance today.